back, guys. This is episode 4 of the ZR600 project. I've got a bunch of stuff I'm going to do today. I'm going to check the belt deflection, the clutch clearance. I'm going to diagnose the stator on this thing to see if it's operating on the high speed and low speed windings properly. I'm going to pull the carbs. I'm going to reset the air and fuel mixture screws. Basically got a lot to do here, so let's just dig into it because I don't even know all the stuff I'm getting into until I do it. So I want to start with the suggestion of looking at the belt deflection to see if my belt is too loose or too tight. The way you do that is you take any straight edge and you just put it on the belt like this, and then you take a ruler and you push on the belt to see how much it moves. Now this looks really loose. It should be 1 inch to 1.5 inches deflection. So I'm going to get my wood pressed in here and we're going to push on this thing and see what we wind up with. Looks like maybe 1.5 inches if I push really hard. I'm going to adjust my belt deflection because, like I said, this should be between 1 and 1.5 inches, and we seem to be a little bit over that. So the way you adjust your belt deflection is by taking this bolt out and adjusting shims. The other way you can tell your belt deflection isn't set right is this belt right here is sitting too deep into these sheaves here. It should really be almost more like that, where you can almost see the cogs of the belt. So basically this sheave needs to move closer to that one. So now I'm going to take this bolt out right here. So a 1/2 inch socket. Okay, that isn't really what I was expecting. So at this point, I've tried a torch, an air hammer. I've tried beating on it with various instruments of destruction, but nothing is working. So I read about something on the internet where you jack up the back of the sled and you rev it up and then you hit the brakes with no belt on. So what that's gonna hopefully do, wait, would the belt need to be on? Does not come off. So I still haven't been able to get this secondary off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tip the sled on its side and then soak it in Croil. But before I do that, I want to test my stator. Somewhere around here you're going to see a wiring harness plug that has 4 wires. You want to disconnect that and then grab your meter. Alright, so there's 3 circuits that we're going to test on the stator here. The 12 volt circuit, the high speed circuit, and the low speed circuit. What you're going to need to do here is kind of look at the color of the wires. Alright, so we're going to test the white to black. It should be 25 ohms. Instead I'm getting 44 ohms for some reason. I'm not sure why. Now we're going to test white to green. So it should be 450 ohms and I just got 438 ohms. That's pretty close. Now we'll do white to black, and we're going to be hoping for 470 ohms. 482. Okay, well that's pretty close. It seems like the high and low speed of the stator is good, which is awesome. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull the carbs and then inspect the reeds and see if I need to order new reeds. Then I'm going to tip this bad boy up on the side and soak this thing in Croil to try to get this off. Alright, what do you think? Broken reeds? They're still pretty good, but... Alright, what do we got here? Broken or not? Let's see. Survey says these are pretty good. Alright, so I have 1 slightly chipped reed. Probably don't need to replace these, but since I have this apart, probably going to do it anyway. Alright, so off camera, the only thing I did to the carbs was I just reset the mixture screws. There's one here and one there, and I just turned them in until they were seated and then backed them out 1.5 turns. I thought that's what I did last time, but it looks like they were a little over that. I'm also going to check the plugs to see what color they are. This thing has been kind of bogging down when I try to get off the line. I'm guessing these plugs are going to be pretty black. and sooty. We'll see what we see here. Oh yeah, real black and sooty, running too rich. Now there's only one mixture screw on this carb here. Apparently this is just for idle to quarter throttle. In addition to some of the issues with the clutches and the belt tension and everything, maybe it was running a little bit rich at the same time, because that's definitely a rich plug, and I think these were a little bit too far out. The only other adjustment here is just by changing the jets themselves. I'm not doing that, so I think I'm just going to clean off these plugs and reinstall them, and then check them after I run them. Yep, super oily. Clean both plugs with brake clean and paper towel, and threw some anti-seize on there. I'm still trying to pull this clutch. I had this entire sled tipped on its side for 2 or 3 days, and I filled the end of the clutch with Croil. I've been pounding on it. This is an old torsion bar right here from the 911, and I've been pounding on it from this side with a sledgehammer to get a full swing on it. I've also taken the mini sledge and just been smacking the back of the secondary here. There's a couple options here if I really want to get it off. I could pull all this side plastic off the sled, like all the bodywork. I'd have to drill out all the rivets and pull all this off. Then I need to take apart the chain case, take the gear off, and apparently this whole jack shaft will just slide out. That's one option. The other option, if I don't want to deal with the bodywork, I could cut this whole jack shaft in half with a Sawzall or something, and then slide it out this way and slide it out that way. It might be a couple pieces or 3 pieces, I'm not sure. Get a new jack shaft and reinstall everything. That sounds like a pain in the ass too. So some of you guys commented that my engine is moving around too much. I do have new motor mounts here and under there somewhere. But one thing I did notice is I don't really seem to have an engine snubber, which I think is supposed to go right here. I ordered a new one. Here's what they look like. It's just a rubber pad with a threaded end. I'm gonna try to figure out how to install this. I might need to unbolt the engine mounts and lift the engine in order to get this in here, because otherwise I don't see how there's gonna be any space. So yay, more fun. We're gonna unbolt the engine quick. As usual, whenever you have some exhaust springs, like a motorcycle or snowmobile or something, I just use a piece of copper wire and vice grips, and you just slip it in the spring here and compress it. So what I'm doing now is that in order to put in the snubber to keep the engine from moving around, I need to actually remove the engine or shift it forward to get the snubber in from this side. It goes on this bracket right here. However, I can't unbolt the engine mount under here because the primary clutch is in the way. So I'm going to take off the primary now, even though I can't get off the secondary, to remove the engine mount so that I can put in the snubber to prevent the engine from moving. Yeah, that's how it's going right now. Alright, so now I have the sled jacked up, which is OSHA approved here, and I have the primary bolt loose, and what I'm going to do is take that puppy out of there, wrap it in Teflon tape, and then I'm going to fill this hole with some oil or some water, screw this in here, and this should pop off the primary clutch, and then I can get to the engine mount, I think. Alright, round 2. I added way more Teflon tape this time. And this time I'm going to use water because I don't feel like wasting a bunch of lubricant if this doesn't work. What the f***? Alright, this time I used Teflon tape, not the gas kind. And I decided instead of going really wide, I would just go the length of the entire threads. So the thought is then maybe that'll help it seal a little better and push a little harder. We're gonna try again with some water. All right, round 3. This time I put a ton more Teflon tape on the front part of the bolt. We're gonna see if that seals up better. going to try something thicker than water or oil. I'm going to try just engine assembly lube. I don't see how this is working at all. It just seems like the bolt bottoms out instantly. Made a huge mess on my clutches. I have grease and water everywhere. And all I want to do is install this one mother-f***ing snubber so the engine doesn't move. Alright. I have still not got the primary off. I read that if you put the tip from your grease gun all the way in there, which doesn't fit, so this is a stupid tip. Doesn't work. The grease gun doesn't fit down the hole, so we're just going to see if we can do that and just shove a ton of grease in there. It did nothing. It didn't come off. I don't understand. Every video on the internet says if you fill this hole with grease or water and thread the bolt in with Teflon tape, this primary is supposed to pop off. It's not happening. Why? Try it again. I'm just gonna do it over and over. Okay, again, it took all the tape right off those front threads, which wound up doing jack shit because the clutch is still totally on here. Here is a bolt that has Teflon tape, just like all the other videos that say if you put Teflon tape and water in here, it'll pop your clutch off. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna say it does jack shit. That's what I'm gonna guess. I didn't tighten the bolt all the way down last time. I have yet more Teflon tape. I'm gonna go through all the rolls of Teflon tape I own, which are 2, and they're both really new, to prove to you that this method does jack shit. Straight all the way down. Didn't pop it off. Did nothing. God damn it! How the f is this possible? This sled. This f***ing sled.